live as Syracuse takes on Butler. The winner will face the winner of our next game, a 6 versus a 2, as Xavier takes on the Wildcats of Kansas State. So let's take a look at the starting lineup. Butler out of the Horizon League, led by Gordon Hayward, the Horizon League Player of the Year. Meanwhile, for Syracuse, Wesley Johnson, the Big East Player of the Year, one of the top 5 players in all of America. Whitehead, McCall, Petty are your officials. Tonight's game is brought to you in high definition by LG. Life's good. Gus Johnson along with Len Elmore. And Lenny, as this one gets ready to start, Butler, the hottest team in America. They've won 22 straight games, but they're a long shot. What should we expect to see early on?
Well, you got two teams with identical records. Syracuse dominating of late with their 2-3 zone, which has been virtually impenetrable. And Butler, that winning experience, you cannot underestimate the fact that you haven't tasted a loss since December 22nd, 2009.
So Syracuse advancing from Buffalo, coming off an 87-65 win over Gonzaga. Prior to that, another blowout, 79-56 over Vermont. Here's Joseph, his first shot short, and the rebound goes to the Butler Bulldogs as Norin pulls it down. So the zone, a problem for most teams facing Syracuse on the season, but this Butler team can really stroke it from the perimeter.
Well, first of all, they have to really pop the ball, move it around, let everybody get a touch, force that zone to kind of expand a little bit and find some gaps.
And Mack with an air ball. He's the engine on this team. You know, Hayward and Howard, back-to-back players of the year in the Horizon League. But Shelvin Mack will be looked upon to penetrate and find open shooters. Here's Trish, baseline, Jackson. And Johnson coming off a 31-point game. His first shot no good.
But one of the keys Brad Stevens told us was they wanted to hold Syracuse to one tough shot. And on offense, move the ball, reverse the ball. As we mentioned, try to stretch that zone, then find the gaps to drive and to penetrate and kick.
Off the mark, Mack. Here's Routens, who's been red hot in this tournament from the three-point line. Joseph down the lane, no. Taken away, kicked out, Norin. And he will pull it back and run a play.
So far, 3 possessions by Syracuse, 1 and out. Butler maintaining their game plan.
Butler 18-0 in the Horizon League. And they've taken on all comers this season. Inside jump hook, and that one off the mark for Matt Howard, who last year was the Horizon League Player of the Year. Deflection, loose, and picked up by the Bulldogs. Nord with 15 points in their last game to lead this team in scoring downtown, and finally the Bulldogs are on the board as Mack knocks down a triple.
Well, Shelvin Mack is the best creator on the floor for Butler. Not only can he create for himself, but for others. And see him begin to handle the ball even more in this offense.
Wesley Johnson posting. Dumps it inside, knocked away, and picked up by Mack. Butler in the first round, they beat Utah 77-59. In the second round, 54-52 over Murray State. Mack rise and fire again. And that's a brick. Batted out, and the Bulldogs will hold on.
Second chance opportunities rare for Butler. Only 9 offensive rebounds a game, but against this 2-3, they have to get second chances.
And there, the soft spot in the zone.
Well, it's the movement of the ball, and again, they're creating room for themselves by reversing the ball, forcing the defenders for Syracuse in that 2-3 zone to stretch out and cover.
Willie Beasley and Syracuse throwing it away. So Jim Boeheim, Hall of Fame coach, 34th season at the helm at his alma mater. He played with Dave Bing at Syracuse as a player. And he is the architect of one of the great zones, if not the greatest zone, defense in America.
But right now, it's the offense he's worried about. As he looked out on the floor after that last turnover, asking guys, what are you doing?
Mack stripped out of bounds. And on the other sideline, Brad Stevens, 33 years old, in his 3rd year Second time he's recorded 30 wins as Butler comes in with a 30-4 record. Back-to-back Horizon League Coach of the Year. So you got 34 years in 3 years.
3 consecutive NCAA tournament appearances and an 86% win percentage for Brad Stevens. And you wonder why his name is not spoken about when you talk about some of these jobs upcoming. Could it be age discrimination?
Howard off the mark with the jump hook. Scoot Jardine in the game now. Rick Jackson can't make the catch. Picked up Nord. Outlet. Hayward in the front court. He's dynamic. Oh, and comes up short.
That's a good defensive job by Andy Robbins, forcing Hayward to kind of change his shot. But Syracuse is going to have to get back. Butler underrated in their transition game, but make no doubt about it, they can run.
Butler with a 5-0 lead. Jackson, impressive player with his former high school teammate. Jardine with the ball out of Philadelphia. Trish curling down the lane and a foul. So Butler off to a good start. 15:25 to play. First half, 5-0. Back to Salt Lake right after this.
Bryant for West Virginia broke his foot in practice the other day. Kalen Lucas obviously out for the season, torn Achilles. And here Arinze Onuaku, a tower of strength in the middle for Syracuse throughout the season. Probably will not play regardless whether or not Syracuse advances.
Here's Onuaku with that quad injury. Trish, second free throw, no good. Don't forget, for those of you expecting to see Washington, West Virginia in Syracuse at 2 versus 11, we will get you there as soon as it tips off. So the Orange on the board now, off to a sluggish start, 2 of 8 from the field.
Well, the biggest problem for Syracuse has been 4 turnovers. And throughout this tournament, in these 3 games, Syracuse has 16 more turnovers than their opponents. Highly uncharacteristic. In this game, that might hurt.
Correction. Syracuse 0 for 3 and Butler 2 of 8 as you take a look at the longest active win streaks in the country this year.
And Butler with 22 consecutive wins. One of their victims still in the mix is Ohio State. They beat them earlier this year.
Cornell facing mighty Kentucky. So now Butler, very patient against the zone. Hahn comes in. He's a 3-point specialist, number 3 for the Bulldogs.
Might mention another victim, Xavier, who will be playing a second game here. Another victim of Butler during that 22-game win streak.
Nice move to the basket, Willie Beasley. Second time he's been able to penetrate the zone, and Butler taking a 7-1 advantage. Right now, Syracuse having a hard time figuring out this Butler defense. Wes Johnson trying to post up. And Beasley continues to front him. Routens picks it up, fires. Andy Routens, 8 of 16 from the 3-point line in the first 2 rounds. At 24 against Gonzaga, Hayward deep and rattles it in.
Gordon Hayward, not normally a real accurate 3-point shooter, just 28% from beyond the arc. But Butler operating on all cylinders right now.
Now 64 will compete in the Coke Zero Brain Bracket, decide who wins 10 grand. Vote at CokeZero.com. Syracuse with the basketball, 0 for 4, 4 turnovers to start this game. Butler 4 of 10, 2 of 4 from downtown. And another turnover, Howard picks it up. 5 turnovers for Syracuse to start, so the Orange a little jittery.
Yeah, they're pretty shaky right now, and Deshante Riley replacing Rick Jackson in the middle. The first time he touches it, he turns it over. It's not the kind of start, obviously, he'd like to have. Got to get some experience inside, though.
And Riley will pick up his first foul.
And immediately, Butler goes right at Riley with Matt Howard, recognizing Riley, a freshman, not much experience on the floor, particularly in the NCAA tournament. You see just a nice little drop step spin by Matt Howard inside.
Matt Howard started all 34 games this year, averaging 12 as he gets the first. Butler on the season. Very good free throw shooting team at 74% as Rick Jackson comes back in.
And again, let's go back to the point about not underestimating that 22-game win streak. Butler's been able to win in many different ways, and it becomes a habit. You learn how to win regardless of the situation. And let me correct something I said earlier. I said Xavier was part of that 22-game win streak. They were beaten just before that streak started. But nevertheless, they're part of that 30-win season that Butler has amassed.
Right now, the Bulldogs on a 7-0 run and a foul inside. Wes Johnson foul. And don't forget, we'll get you to Washington, West Virginia shortly. But right now, a surprise. 13-minute mark. Butler up 12-1. Routen's the inbound. Nice move. Rick Jackson, the ruler of the paint with the left-hand roller.
Well, obviously, immediately during that time, that free throw, Jim Boeheim goes back to Rick Jackson, recognizing he's going to need him on the offensive end. Butler playing man-to-man. They feel they have some opportunities.
They swing it. Hahn.
That's what I mean by popping the ball. You're moving it, everybody touching it.
And the rebound goes to Joseph. Here comes Scoop Jardine. Really great player in the open court. Hahn picks him up. Jackson posted. And throws it away. 6 turnovers for Syracuse. What's Butler doing defensively, Lenny?
Just playing them tight man-to-man. Syracuse appears to be a bit confused as to where they want to go.
Hayward, nice look. Howard rejected the foul as Wes Johnson gets him with the body. Let's take a look at Rick the Ruler.
On one end, they want to definitely get the ball inside. Rick Jackson, quickness of foot. He's got an advantage inside. But here, excellent ball movement forces Wesley Johnson to come from the weak side and cause that foul.
So Howard makes the first. Matt Howard from Connorsville, Indiana. Second free throw. No good.
Obviously not having the kind of NCAA tournament thus far that people would expect of a guy that's first team all-conference. But Butler seems to pick their spots and everybody gets involved.
Routen's deep. Oh.
Because that's the first time Andy Routens has gotten away from the Butler defense. Between Shelvin Mack and Ronald Nora, they've done a good job of playing tag and staying close to him.
Routen's coming off that 24.4 rebound, 4 assist game against the Zags. He's shooting 50%, averaging 17.5 in this tournament.
And you take a look at that zone right now. The ball movement from side to side and the ball reversal has really gotten that zone stretched.
Deep jump shot. Hayward can't hang on. Jackson picks it up. Here comes Scoop. He's got Joseph on the wing. Rising fire. And Johnson has to be careful not to pick up that second foul.
Yeah, and Butler does a terrific job of blocking out. We talk about their lack of offensive rebounding, but 73% of opponent misses is what's garnered by Butler. So fundamentally, they make sure they put a body on people and make sure they get to the rim.
10:53 to play, first half, 13-6. Andy Routens, Leo's kid, in the gym range.
Out the window as 5 teams outside the Power 6 remain. You take a look at the Big East, 2 remain there. And as far as consistency, Xavier and Michigan State have demonstrated it over the last 3 seasons.
10:53 to play, first half, 13-6. Mack will bring the ball into the front court. Norris, Hayward, Hahn. And Jukes, 4 to shoot. Mack, way off the mark. Johnson with the rebound. Routens the other way.
I'm not sure anybody from Butler was aware of the shot clock. And that shot right there was from almost half court.
Jackson pivots, tough jump hook, short. Johnson there and the foul.
The problem with the Syracuse offense right now, Rick Jackson, if they're going to go to him, he's so far off the lane, that move that he's taken, that jump hook, is not going to be effective. He's going to have to turn face, put it on the floor, get himself in position to make that jump hook effective.
So that takes Wes Johnson to the line. Out of Corsicana, Texas, Iowa State transfer. Very interesting story. Johnson had a foot injury at Iowa State that they could never really diagnose. didn't really see eye to eye with the coach at that time, and Syracuse luckily found a needle in a haystack. And we'll tell you about that story as this game progresses. 13-8. Johnson on the board now.
You know, when an underdog gets off to that good, quick start and develops a cushion, it puts a lot of anxiety in the minds of the favorite.
Nora, 20-footer. Jackson brings it down.
But Butler continues to have to take the long shots. They got it inside a few times, but Syracuse forced them to take long shots. Not really being able to put it in the basket, giving Syracuse an opportunity to close this gap.
Joseph, Big E, 6th man of the year, throws it away. As Hayward steps in the passing lane, 7 turnovers for the Qs. Hayward off the bounce, and a whistle.
Gordon Hayward getting enough touches right now. He's a guy that's very nifty with the ball for a guy his size, being able to get into the heart of that zone, kick it back outside. As he penetrates, the zone collapses, and that creates opportunities for the shooters to step up.
Meanwhile, Rick Jackson picked up his 2nd foul at the 9:28 mark. So Gordon Hayward, some people call him the baby-faced assassin, but he can do a lot of things on the floor.
Yeah, he's a very skilled young man, and Rick Jackson with 2 fouls. Jim Boeheim told us yesterday he rarely, if ever, takes a guy out with 2 fouls. He'll wait until 3. The zone helps cover up in situations where a guy's in foul trouble. He's hopeful that Jackson be smart enough in that zone.
And Jackson picked up 3 fouls in the first half against Gonzaga. He went out of the game, and the Orange actually played better when he was out of the game, and that's when they really went on their run.
Yeah, they began to play 4 and 5 out when Riley was out of the game, and they went small. And that's where their strength is, with their forwards and the shootings of their guards.
And a foul on the pass. Masters Live streams exclusive video of A-Man Corner Live, 15 and 16 Live, Featured Group Live, plus Masters Extra, showing bonus coverage of the entire field at cbssports.com/Masters Live and Masters.com. Foul called on Hayward. He picks up his 2nd. Jardine trying to penetrate, backdoor. Trish can't hold on, and we'll head the other way.
But Butler doing a nice job again of covering the middle. When the ball gets to the perimeter, either the elbow or the low post, looking for cutters, but Butler has really done a nice job of converging, help side coming over and preventing that little drop down pass or bounce pass to the cutters for high percentage shots.
Syracuse turning it over 8 times in the first half with 9 minutes to play. Van Zandt checks back into the game for the Butler Bulldogs. Deep in the corner, off the mark, Beasley, Jardine, 15-foot pull-up, count.
Transition, that's what Syracuse wants to be right now. And again, their rebounding prowess, 9 rebounds, all defensive. They've got to be able to start some fast break action, get some easy baskets to compensate for those turnovers.
Double clutch Mack, rims off, and Howard's there for the stick back. Nice hands.
Again, we talked about Butler not being a good offensive rebounding team, but against this 2-3 zone, a concerted effort being made.
Nice position, Jackson, but he lost it. Finds a cutting Jardine, and a block coming up.
The biggest story in this game has been Syracuse and their turnovers. Extra opportunities given to Butler. And again, it just seems to be miscommunication at times and excellent defense at other times. Either way, they're giving it up. Syracuse only averages 15 turnovers a game.
So Scoop Jardine gets the first one to go. Joseph ready to check back into the game. And he replaces Trish. Jardine at the line from Philadelphia. Said he got the name Scoop because his grandmother said he had a head shaped like an ice cream scooper. 17-12. Thanks, Grandma. But it really stuck. Howard, great position. Power dribble, and Howard gets it back. Johnson comes from the weak side. 20 to shoot.
And Wesley Johnson using that length on the weak side.
And that silky smooth 15-footer off the dribble.
Right now, it's more than just blocking shots. You got to come up with possessions. The extra opportunities that obviously benefit Butler as they're focused.
19-12, Butler. Back after this. Butler with a 19-12 lead.
Tell you what, we talk about turnovers. 9 turnovers by Syracuse, and what that's done is given Butler extra opportunities. Butler's got 10 more field goal attempts than Syracuse, and Syracuse playing pretty good defense. Butler shooting just about 32%, but it's the extra opportunities they're able to pile up the makes within that 32%.
Butler with the lead, 7:25 to play in the first half.
Well, Syracuse, their defense doing a pretty decent job holding Butler to just 32% from the field, but it's the 9 turnovers by Syracuse that's given Butler now 11 more field goal attempts, and within that, they've been able to build a lead. Syracuse only 9 attempts from the field, shooting 33%.
Shelvin Mack has 7 points, and it's been so easy for him. Couple of dribbles, pull up at the free throw line and knock down a 15 or 16 footer.
Well, they're going to take what the defense gives them, and right now they've backed off a little bit.
Jardine off the mark and up and in. Chris Joseph. Joseph from Montreal, Canada. Brother Maurice played at Vermont. They faced each other in the opening round of the tournament this year. Mack again. How about that? 15-footer off the dribble. There's the sweet spot. And Jim Boeheim is concerned.
Well, we talked about giving what the defense gives you. Take a look just on that little penetration right here. There are a lot of guys that are wide open. And get it in the heart of that zone. And there are guys open, but if you take it yourself and get it up on the rim, you're hoping you get offensive rebounders as the defense goes around you.
Mack, not only the leader of this team, but he was the captain of the gold medal winning 19 and under USA team. And Butler with a 24-14 lead. They've led by as many as 11. Mack again. Hahn from deep. Ooh, in and out. Johnson with the rebound. Now Routens cross down traffic, rises. That one partially blocked and fouled. So Routens foul behind the three-point line. And Andy will shoot 3.
Syracuse in a bit of haste right now, not wanting to fall behind any further than 10. Quick shot by Andy Routens. But bailed out on something that obviously you teach from grade school. You do not foul the jump shooter.
Andy Routens, all Big East second team. Sporting News, 5th team All-America. Now some confusion, which has been sorted out. Routens will shoot 3. Routens, the son of Leo Routens, who played at Syracuse, also played professional basketball in the NBA. And next Thursday on Survivor, it's do or die for the heroes. And will the villains self-destruct? With Survivor back on its regular night, CBS next Thursday. Jardine out of the game. Trish comes back in. And Routens gets 3. 24-17, approaching the 6-minute mark. First half, Salt Lake City. We are on the corner of John Stockton and Karl Malone Drive in the West Regional.
And again, look for Butler to continue to move the ball, try to reverse it. And if they go inside, be cognizant of weak side coming.
Backs it up, 10 to shoot. Gets a screen. Mack forced it up and is fouled behind the line. He'll shoot 3 now.
Well, you talk about wasted effort. Excellent defensive stance right there, only to get the defenders off their feet. I don't know, it's pretty close right there. Look at Andy Routens get off his feet. There, he bumped him. Mack does a good job of kind of leaning in to make sure there was contact. Routens tried to avoid it, but couldn't.
So Shelvin Mack misses the first. He's their second leading scorer at 14 a game. 74% free throw shooter on the season. As he gets the second, let's take a look at the Star Watch.
Well, right now, the Stars for Syracuse maybe just getting started a little bit. And again, Gordon Hayward, Matt Howard, beneficiaries of some passes inside. But look at the shooting percentages. Not all that good because the Syracuse defense has done a nice job. But it's the distribution among the Butler players with the opportunities they've been given through the Syracuse turnovers that's helped them build this lead.
Routens picked up his second foul. And Shelvin Mack has been the catalyst for Butler here in the first half. Johnson inside, knocked away, batted around. Mack clears it. Great denial by Howard on the post.
Yeah, denial, and Wesley Johnson should have recognized that and never thrown that pass.
Mack again. Tipped out. Here comes Scoot. He's got Johnson on the wing. Jardine, dribble penetration. Wes Johnson picks up the loose ball and puts it in.
Now, a lot of people are wondering why no foul called, and so are we, because there was contact, and unless the secondary defender is outside of that restricted area under the basket, you know, it comes down to the point, if there's contact made, if he's in that restricted area, it's an automatic foul on him. That had to be something because it had an effect on the ball, the shooter or the passer, whichever you want to look at, on that Wesley Johnson basket.
And that Willie Beasley tip-in makes it a 28-19 game. Jardine. And that one, an air ball. Syracuse not getting the ball to their principals. Wes Johnson is having a hard time getting touches. Mack in the corner. Deep jump shot. And it goes down. That's it. And right now, Butler popping their collars. Syracuse.
For himself and others, and Shelvin Mack has pretty much fit the bill on that one, as he's been able to get by the frontline defenders in that zone and knock down some shots, also penetrate, move the ball for his team so they can find the open shooters.
Largest lead of the game, Joseph from Routens jams it down. Nice play out of a timeout, and Brad Stevens doesn't like what he's seeing now. He'll burn a timeout and get Hahn back into the game. 10-point lead, Butler. Washington, West Virginia game, and they will get you caught up on all the latest tournament news. Plus, an AT&T Naismith Watch update. That's all coming up on AT&T at the half. 31-21. Butler, at number 5, on a 22-game winning streak. Right now, with all the answers for the top-seeded Syracuse Orangemen here in the West. Hahn.
Very focused on inside out, trying to reverse the ball. There's some penetration and kick.
And Beasley fumbles it out of bounds. That's the first turnover for Butler. And we're at the 3:25 mark of the first half.
I'll tell you what, if they get the blueprint of an upset as we have here today, where the underdog gets out in front quickly, they may have a chance.
Wes Johnson, nice interior passing as Rick Jackson put it on him, 31-23.
Yeah, Syracuse to get back into this ball game, they've got to obviously stop turning the ball over and get some quality looks. And defensively, back off a little bit. You know, not get outside and try to extend the defense to allow Butler a chance to exploit you.
Hahn unable to find the range. Syracuse 7 of 16 from the field.
And if Hahn had hit that one, he'd have serious range. But Syracuse, nice job of backing it down a little bit and forcing Butler to take that long shot.
All right, let's take a look at the game summary. Turnovers, the major statistic. Syracuse has turned it over 10 times, giving up 12 Butler points off those turnovers.
Yeah, and as I said, Syracuse doing a pretty decent job on the defensive end. It's just the extra opportunities Butler's gotten to be able to get the points that they have. Still shooting right around, 33% or so.
Mack has had an awesome first half. 12 points on 4 of 10 shooting. A rebound and an assist.
See Butler trying to use high screens to pick off one of the two guys at the top of that zone so they'll have at least an angle and a gap that they can drive.
And a whistle. Looks like an offensive foul coming up.
Yeah, trying to pick him off, a moving screen.
And that goes on Norrid. And the winner of this game will advance and take on the winner of our next game. Xavier versus Kansas State, the Atlantic 10 against the Big 12. A rematch of a game played earlier this year in Manhattan, which turned out to be a walk in the park. For Kansas State, Norrid with the steal and bucket.
I'll tell you what, that effort on defense by Norrid, first of all, smart enough to go beneath the screen and try to shoot the gap on the pass and then get a hand on it, and he beat Andy Routens to the ball. He wanted it more on that possession.
Johnson inside, Jackson, great catch, goes up, no. Loose, out of bounds, and we'll stay right here. So a sub coming in for Butler, Van Zandt. Hahn heads to the bench. And a whistle. That one deflected out of bounds by the Bulldogs. 1:39 on the game clock.
And Ronald Norrid, starting point guard for Butler, is giving Andy Routens all sorts of trouble right now.
Joseph steps into a three. Off the heel. Johnson with the rebound, stolen. Norrid.
Can't put it on the floor against these Butler Bulldogs who will dig defensively. And what that does, when Wes Johnson puts it on the floor, he negates his length. He's got to get it above his shoulders, make sure he clears the defense before he decides to make a move. Another turnover for Syracuse.
Mack thinking about it. Lets it fly. And Joseph hauls it down.
And Gus, that's what I was talking about. Syracuse can back off now a little bit and force Butler to think about taking those long threes. When they step out and try to extend, then Butler starts to beat him off the dribble, get inside the zone, and create problems.
Jackson in the pivot. Drop step to the bucket, left hand, no. Batted out. Trish bats it. Here comes Beasley. He's got Mack. Mack fumbles it, power dribble, and banks it in. Nice hands. Great concentration for Mack, who's having a monster first half, 14 points.
Is there something wrong with the lights here? Over the last couple of possessions, it appears that guys are losing it in the lights. Where they start fumbling passes in the air. You saw it on this end with Rick Jackson. You saw it on the back end with Mack.
Shot clock turned off, game clock at 10 for Trish. Here's a high pick and roll. Joseph driving, double clutch, short, Jackson, and Arula bangs it down. And that's the end of the first half. 35-25, Butler up by 10. Both Cindy and Greg Gumbel in New York with AT&T at the half. After this message and a word from your local station, Syracuse's largest halftime deficit this season, 5 at Providence. They came back to win the game. They're down by 10 now. Points for Syracuse, 25 in the first half, and let's take a look at Elmore's edge.
Well, again, we talked about Shelvin Mack and what he's able to do. The more the better. The ball movement by Butler has really been able to extend that Syracuse zone. And don't let the bigs beat you. Well, Butler doing a nice job of covering up inside. Rick Jackson having a lot of problems inside handling the ball, and no one else really getting in the paint because of the Butler defense. And let's credit that Butler defense. Syracuse shooting just 38%. And they've done a nice job of limiting the second chance opportunities. Syracuse only 6 off of 5 offensive rebounds.
So we start the second half, Butler with the ball. Norrid, Mack, working around, Howard, Hayward. Also Beasley. Here's Howard across the lane, left hand, no. And the rebound goes to the freshman, Trish. Jackson. Here's Trish off the break. And Norrid
quick shot. Right now, you're down 10. You got to be able to kind of get back in this ball game by working it and getting high percentage shots. In the first half, Syracuse feeling a little anxiety right now, not getting good looks, taking quick shots, not being able to get as many offensive rebounds as they possibly could have. And again, you credit the Butler defense in challenging the shooters when they've taken a shot. But Syracuse, with their size and bulk in the middle, can do better.
Nord, Haywood fires. Batted out, picked up by Routins. Syracuse in the first half, 8 of 21. Butler 12 of 30.
And you take a look at Rick Jackson in the middle, really working, but he just can't handle the ball. Another turnover for Jackson. And again, his third turnover, fumbling the ball, just having a hard time catching the handle.
So Jackson has turned it over twice. Johnson 3 times. Joseph twice. Routins twice. And Trish, Jardine, and Riley once. (35-25). Now Norrid. Butler so patient in the half-court set.
And with a 10-point lead, they're going to get even more patient.
Norrid 3. Halfway down, pops out. Routins picks it up. Routins downtown. Count it. 35-28. Butler with the lead. The Bulldogs, the number 5, have led by as many as 12. But Syracuse gets a 3-pointer from Andy Routins to cut into that lead. Now we have a 7-point game.
And the first half was all about Syracuse turning the ball over, giving Butler extra opportunities, and Butler certainly took advantage of those extra opportunities.
Well, here comes Routins. Johnson calling for it inside. Great catch, out and in. And a nice pass from Rick Jackson.
And you can see the adjustment right there. Instead of Jackson being the post-up player, bring him to the high post, let him pass the ball down low to someone who can get something done with it. And Wes Johnson is that man.
5-point lead now. Howard turning and beautiful body control in the paint.
And that clean entry pass is a byproduct of Butler's ability to move the ball, stretch the zone to give them passing and driving opportunities.
And the bracket here in the West Regional. The winner of this game advancing to take on the winner of our next game between Xavier and Kansas State. 2 fouls on Norrid as Trish starts the offense. Joseph with the ball inserted into the starting lineup with the injury to Anawaku. Routins off balance. Howard, and he is fouled by the sophomore Joseph.
Syracuse has to recognize what's working for them. Sometimes they want to raise up and take those shots, invited to take the open looks from beyond the arc. But right now it comes down to being able to go inside that Butler defense and put pressure on the D. The quick perimeter shots just don't do it.
Back on the hop, the reversal. Hayward driving, reverse layup, no. Jackson snatches it down.
The Orange have thus far kept Gordon Hayward in check right now. Can't find anything easy.
Trish to the basket with English. And Syracuse clawing their way back into this game on a 9-0 run to start the second half.
Butler misses, giving Syracuse the opportunity to push the ball in transition.
Norrid with a crease. Oh, beautiful finger roll.
And that's something we haven't seen in the first 2 rounds with Syracuse, them giving those driving lanes out of that 2-3 zone. And again, Butler with excellent ball movement creates that. Another turnover by Syracuse.
39-32, Butler with the lead. Back to Salt Lake after this. West Wes Johnson and Andy Routens.
Well, you can't score if you don't touch it. That's really the case right here. Combined Butler defense and the turnovers by Syracuse have limited the opportunities for Wes Johnson and Andy Routens. By comparison, in the second round against Gonzaga, Routens 13 field goal attempts, Wesley Johnson 16 field goal attempts. There they got opportunities. Here it's been Butler keeping them from touching it, or Syracuse just giving it away.
Syracuse has turned it over 14 times, giving up 14 points on turnovers. Butler has turned it over twice, giving up 2 points. That's the story so far. Along with this man, Mack, who had 14 in the first half. But Syracuse starting to figure out Butler. Deep in the corner. Off the mark, Beasley, and out of bounds. Sunday on CBS, the head of an amusement park company will make one employee's dream finally come true. An inspirational undercover boss, Sunday on CBS.
And Gus, you take a look at the offensive adjustment. Rick Jackson starting out at the high post, kind of opening up the middle, as well as giving him a better view of where he can kick the ball.
Trish deep, short, batted around, and Jackson with the rebound. Routens, pure. Andy Routens. He was grabbing his hamstring, his left hamstring at halftime. He may have a little tweak, but it hasn't affected his J. 39-35 Butler.
Second chance opportunities plus Routens' length. Routens at 6'5", shooting over the 6-foot Nord. And Butler now has the turnover bug biting him.
And Stevens cannot believe that pass. Let's take another look, though, at Andy Routens.
You take a look at Routens right out there, wide open, inside out. Nord comes the challenge. But clear vision in a basket by Andy Routens. You can't give him that much room.
He's 3 for 3 from the three-point line. Rather, he has 3 threes, 12 points, dumps it down. And a blocking foul on the baseline. And this will go against Howard.
And remember in the first half when Rick Jackson would catch the ball off the lane, he would try to back down or try to hit a jump hook. Now he's turning and facing and putting it on the floor. That time drew the foul from Matt Howard.
Inside! Now that's a high percentage shot. Wes Johnson, 2-point game. Here come the Qs, and their fans are in it. 39-37 after trailing by 12. Knocked away, Jackson, great hand. Syracuse can tie it up with the deuce, take the lead with the 3.
Good decision by Scoot Jardine just to pull it back.
Johnson, and Johnson hits a 3. Syracuse up by a penny. Timeout Butler. 13:27 to go. Back after this. Welcome back. The number 1 seed here in the West, Syracuse taking the lead. And let's take a look at what's taking place with the number 1 seeds this year. Kansas is out, Kentucky, Cornell, Duke tomorrow, Purdue, and after trailing by as many as 12, 10 at the break, Syracuse with 8 unanswered points en route to a 15-4 run to take their first lead of the game.
And it's been about care and maintenance, better care of the ball by Syracuse, better maintenance of their offense, now distributing the ball and getting it to their big guns. Andy Routens, 3 of 5 from the field now, 3 of 4 behind the arc, and Wesley Johnson 5 of 6 from the field. They're touching it, they're scoring.
Hayward, he has not been aggressive. Now he gets to the basket. 7 points for Gordy. He had 5 at the break. He averages 15. Butler reclaiming the lead. Now Jardine. Jackson calling for it on the box. Now Johnson looking, the lob, great catch. And Mack with the rebound.
Well, Johnson forced that one. It is a mismatch against Willie Beasley, 6'3".
Nicely done. Hayward from Mack.
On the other end, though, a little bit of confusion by Syracuse in that zone. You just wonder how Hayward snuck behind him.
43-40. Here comes Butler.
Wes, we've seen Butler do a nice job of getting into the heart of the Syracuse zone off the bounce.
Mack deep in the corner. And knocked out of bounds. The Orange will get it back. 11:46 to play, second half. We've got a 3-point game.
Johnson, with only 3 field goal attempts in all of the first half, has already got 4, and he's demonstrated that he can turn it on when he gets some touches. Take a look right now. Butler with 0 points off turnover, something that propelled them to that 10-point lead in the first half, as Syracuse has become more careful with the ball and not giving the extra opportunities.
Routen's quick release. Off the heel, long rebound. Noah picked it up. Almost fouled. Hands it off to Hayward. Second half, Butler 4 of 11 from the field, 36%. Syracuse 6 of 12. Right at 50% shooting.
And again, this look gives you a great view of how spread that zone is right now as they try to extend. And Butler still cognizant of opportunities for entry passes in those gaps as well as drives in those gaps.
Hahn. They squeeze him in the corner and he turns it over. Routen's outlet, Wes Johnson off the bounce to the bucket. Halfway down, it pops out. Long rebound to Routen's. Now Jardine deep. Count it. Scoop ties it up at 43 with a 3. And they're not booing, folks. They're scooping.
And last possession, wrong guy handling the ball. Hahn's a jump shooter, not a ball handler. And you take a look once again at that zone. From this angle again, an opportunity to see, although Syracuse moving their feet a lot quicker now, closing up those gaps as the ball approaching.
Hahn is 0 for 3. He's a marksman, so he's due.
And you see right there, Norwood had an idea, but Syracuse closed it up quickly.
Hayward, and foul. That's Jackson, and it's his 3rd.
When you take a look right here, you're going to see gaps here, here, and here. And as the ball moves, it creates opportunities for guys to really drive the ball. And again, it's all about the ball reversal. And then on that particular play, you see Gordon Hayward with the opportunity to drive to the basket, and he draws the foul.
Hayward, only 5 points in the first half. He's starting to heat up here in the second half. 10 points now as Hahn takes a seat. And Hayward gets 2.
As Butler continues to try to extend that zone, they're not going to settle simply for jump shots. You know, they're going to try to move the ball and allow the passing to catch the shooters in stride and in rhythm.
Routen's really working hard on the baseline to free himself. Inside, Jackson. Knocked away. Jackson turns it over again. Well, Jackson's been really sloppy with the basketball today.
He's telegraphing those passes in an attempt to try to get it to Wesley Johnson inside.
Hayward, deep jumper. And hits. The baby-faced assassin is alive and stroking it here in the second half. 9:34 to play. Butler, 48-43.
After that timeout was called, Jim Boeheim gave Rick Jackson an earful, primarily because, as what we discussed during the break, he's not being strong with the ball. He's telegraphing his passes.
Jardine, though. He's hit back-to-back threes.
Well, again, with the ball going inside to Rick Jackson several times, Butler now cognizant of that, backing off a little bit, testing the Orange and seeing whether or not they're willing to take those shots.
Jardine with 10. Inside, Howard. Oh, great balance to just make the catch. And a foul call. And it will go against Syracuse.
And even though Rick Jackson has turned the ball over, Butler afraid of him getting it inside. And you see Jardine gets the defender to back up. Shelvin Mack backs up, and Jardine makes up that ground and knocks the 3 down. And the Orange are going to have to start reading the defense even better, recognizing there are opportunities, again, if they exercise some patience.
Mack with the basketball. Now Mack to the basket on the hop, the fadeaway. And Joseph clears it. Jardine. Now off the dribble. Hands it off, and a blocking foul on the baseline will go against Butler. And that will be his fourth.
And in this particular kind of game, the way Butler's playing defense, Scoop Jardine, the right man at the right time. The guy who can penetrate off the bounce, create for others. And that time avoids the charge.
So with Howard heading to the bench, Hahn back in, Butler going smaller. Jardine, the inbounder, inside Johnson, great catch, goes up and banks it in, and we're tied at 48.
Well, Syracuse recognizing a mismatch. Shelvin Mack, Willie Veazey, not big enough to handle Wesley Johnson. Take enough time, you'll get it to him and he'll produce.
And Beasley driving to the basket and a foul. And this will go on Jackson, who now picks up his fourth at the 8:08 mark of the second half. And the freshman Riley prepares to check back in. So Beasley with 6 points at the stripe. And knocks down the first. Monday on CBS. March Madness continues with Charlie Sheen and John Cryer. And TV's #1 comedy, 2.5 Men Monday. Only CBS.
Now with Riley replacing Jackson, you're not going to get any better ball handling in the middle, as Riley's still not experienced enough or skilled enough for the most part as a passer. Anything you get from him will be a bonus. So expect Syracuse not necessarily to go through their big man as far as their offense is concerned. Leave them to set screens.
Joseph across the lane, forced it up, bad shot, Hayward with a rebound.
Butler went to zone that time, and Joseph didn't give the offense enough time to recognize that zone and work it.
Beasley inside, loose ball, picked up Joseph. Now Rautins, they better pick him up because he'll stop and fire. Now hesitation, strip, and a foul. That's on Beasley.
The Butler bench exploded. They thought it was a late call, but Rautins maybe to the rescue for the Orange.
Thank you very much, Craig. And you see Joe Mazzulla for West Virginia with Truck Bryant out with the broken foot. Mazzulla doing a nice job finding guys. Second game from Syracuse. Kentucky, Cornell, and a foul on the inbound pass. And Wes Johnson.
Well, you can see once again the mismatch inside, throwing it over the defense. Nothing they can do about it, but Wes Johnson has to be careful now. When he gets the ball and he starts to bring it down, that's when Butler starts digging. The foul was called here, but Butler's had some success, particularly in the first half, of taking it away from the bigger and longer Syracuse front line.
So Wes Johnson, one of the top 5 players in the nation. Second free throw, and there are a lot of very important executives here watching these men on the floor, especially Wesley Johnson. 1-point game, 50-49. Now Mack, the kick, North, reluctant to shoot this evening. He had 15 points against Murray State. Mack, way short. And Hayward bats it out of bounds. He was on the 1966 national runner-up. Kentucky Wildcats. He runs the Miami Heat. One of the great coaches of all time, Pat Riley.
Playing in the game that changed college basketball. Texas Western with an all-black starting 5 defeating an all-white Kentucky team. And Pat Riley will tell you, I mean, it was a seminal moment in the game of college basketball and changed it for the better.
Johnson rises off the heel, rebounded Mack, and here come the Bulldogs, up by a point.
You get a better shot than that. Syracuse needs to exercise some patience, time, and score. They've got the size advantage, the skill advantage, but they lose that with quick shots.
North almost dragged his pivot foot, and a timeout called by Butler. 6:14 to play, 50-49. Medical premieres Friday, April 2nd, only CBS. As we take a look at the game reset, 1-point game, Butler with 2 timeouts. Neither team over the limit. The arrow in the favor of the Orange. Hahn kicks it out. Beasley. Now Mack steps into a jumper and it rims off. Riley brings it down.
Right now, Syracuse is doing a much better job covering the passers, tightening the zone, and forcing Butler in the perimeter shooting team.
Riley to Routens up top. Oh, again, Andy Routens is an assassin. 4 threes in this game, and Syracuse up by a deuce.
And even off the fumble, just raises up quickly. Surprises the heck out of you.
Hahn 0 for 4. Jardini's got Joseph. Bounce pass back. And Butler wants to talk it over. Syracuse, after being down by 10 at the break, the Orange take their largest lead, up by 4.
Pass by Riley, bang, by Routens. And in transition, you never know who's going to be running the wings, but it doesn't matter for Syracuse. They've got the athletes, and they're getting the job done right now.
6 unanswered points for Syracuse on this 11-2 run. Now a whistle away from the ball. And it will go against Riley as he picks up his 2nd foul.
Yeah, Butler very cognizant of the fact that Howard's strong, understands how to maneuver in the post against Deshante Riley. We mentioned a freshman, relatively inexperienced, and they're trying to get the ball to Howard as quickly as they can. Look at the battle inside.
Mack to the basket. In and out. And Joseph takes it away.
Now Syracuse with a 4-point lead. They're going to exercise a little bit of time and judgment, recognizing they've got that advantage.
Routens really still working hard, pops out on the wing as they give it up to Jardine with 10 to shoot. Jardine can break the defense down, but he fires a 3. And Howard going up high for the rebound. He has it and is fouled.
Jim Boeheim yelling at Scoop Jardine, telling him, I'm sure, why take that jumper 25, 30 feet away from the basket? Jardine, the consummate penetrator, you got an opportunity now to beat somebody off the bounce, force the defense to shift and get better shots for a guy like this.
So Jackson comes back in with 4. Nice job by the freshman out of Detroit Riley. Syracuse with 16 fouls. Butler with 5. Howard posting up inside, wants it, and they throw it away.
Well, again, Butler trying to work it inside to their advantage. Matt Howard against Riley.
Syracuse with 2 timeouts left. Butler with 1. Routens driving, trying to deal it inside, deflected out of bounds, and the Orange will hold on with 12 to shoot. 4-point game. Syracuse with 16 turnovers, 4-point game. Now Norrie looking for Hayward on the baseline. He's roaming. Mack 0 for 6 from the field in the second half for Butler. Beasley flashing. Now Mack off the dribble. Ball knocked out of bounds. And last touch by Syracuse. Bodies all over the floor. Howard flopping with Joseph. And we reset it for you. Syracuse with no fouls to give. Next foul, Butler shoots 1 and 1. Norrie for 3.
No real challenge on Norrie out there. And he's showing Butler's courage to be able to take that shot.
54-53, Jardine down the lane, a fadeaway bounds, and we're going the other way. But watch Norrid. What a big shot.
No real challenge. Norrid got a clean look, even though Jardine put his hand up. But by that time, it was too late as Norrid had elevated. You got to get up on him and make him put the ball on the floor or give it up. Now Jardine getting a little closer, playing tag on Matt.
Inside Howard. Rolls to the bucket. Jump hole. Butler. Up by a penny. 55-54. Timeout Syracuse. 2:33 to go.
This year we
Murder. The joke's on them. An all-new Mentalist. Next Thursday, only CBS. 55-54. Butler. Syracuse, the #1 seed here in the West. Roughton strip. Save. Hayward.
Norrid just hounding Routens, and Routens gave up on that particular tip, expecting to get a foul call. And Butler stayed with it on that one. Andy Routens has got to be stronger with that ball, as Norrid is going to hound him throughout, recognizing how dangerous Routens can be outside.
2 minutes to play. The winner to advance to the Elite Eight. Butler's won 22 in a row. Norrid, Howard, kicks, Beasley. Oh! In and out, back in. 4-point game. 58-54, Syracuse is routing. 1:30 to go.
That's what I call an anxiety shot, much too quick. You got to get to a point where you're going to get a good shot or get fouled. And once again, a quick shot by Syracuse lets Butler not only get possession, but now shorten the game.
Butler has Syracuse on the ropes. 58-54, Butler, Mack inside off the heel, tap up. The Bulldogs less than a minute away from knocking off the second #1 seed, Jardine. Hands it off. Joseph. Jardine 3. Rebound Butler. Wow.
You got a foul right now. The whole Syracuse bench telling their team to foul. Take a look at the excellent ball movement inside out. Howard recognizing at the last minute the open man. And it helps to have a little bit of luck. And then Willie Beasley just gets to the weak side, maybe gets away with a push-off, but it doesn't matter now.
Gordon Hayward at the line. Hits it first. 37.1 remaining in this game. The Butler Bulldogs out of the Horizon League. Second free throw. Short. And Brad Stevens has a big grin on his face. The 33-year-old is 37.1 away. Jardine down the lane and lays it in. Timeout. Syracuse. 33.9 to go. Back to Salt Lake right after this. Timeouts. The Bulldogs with the basketball. Jim Boeheim pacing. 33.9 remaining. And Syracuse will pick it up full court. What has to happen here?
Well, first of all, you try for a quick steal, but you got to stay within distance of your man. Immediately, if that steal doesn't work, you got to foul.
Hayward, the inbounder. Hayward looking, finds Howard.
And see, now you got Butler an opportunity to move the ball. A couple of precious seconds ticked off before the foul occurred.
So Andy Routens fouls out of the game. 15 points for the senior. 30.4 remaining. First one good. And he gets a pair. 63-56. Jardine.
You can still push it up without them fouling you because they don't want to foul.
Left hand good for Jardine. 23.8. And a quick foul. Mack is fouled.
Better job on that possession of Syracuse trying for the steal and making the foul. And smartly enough, even though you're behind, you still want to push the ball up, get the quick twos. Butler does not want to foul you and get you on the line, allow you to put points on the board without time elapsing.
So Brad Stevens quit his job as a marketing assistant for Eli Lilly to go into coaching basketball. Free throw no good. Joseph kicks it out. Jardine again, and he's fouled with 19.7 to go. And it will be sideline out of bounds for Syracuse. 16 fouls against Butler.
Good job of saving that foul.
Jardine down the lane. Jardine, the runner. Johnson, the rebound. And Wes Johnson goes to the line to shoot two.
You can see that reaction right there once this guy's the rebound. But what it comes down to is saving that last foul. You know, allowing Syracuse to go to the basket and not fouling them, letting time elapse, and strategically using that last foul to kind of cut down on the opportunity for Syracuse to score.
Second free throw, no! Jackson had a hand on it and a foul on the baseline.
And that has plagued Rick Jackson all evening. The ability to get the handle and do something with it. He has fumbled and fumbled the ball throughout this game. And here he is with another opportunity. Hands on it. Just can't come up with it. And you see the foul.
So Veasley goes to the free throw line. He's a 65% free throw shooter on the season. Perfect today. And he misses the first. A lot of time left. 9.9.
Right now, two-possession game, regardless of a make or a miss.
And he misses a second. They got to hurry. Jardine. Jardine spinning. Stripped! Lauren with hands. And how about this? Butler! Butler knocks off top-seeded Syracuse here in the West to advance to the Elite Eight. A run falling again, and the Bulldogs will take on the winner of our next game, Xavier, Kansas State. 63-59 the final. Now let's go to Greg Gumbel standing by in New York.